Я думаю, да, мы представим нашего коллегу. Нареш, floor is yours. Take it.
Well, good morning, everyone. Hi, I'm really excited to be here today, and it's great to see so many people in the audience, and I hope it's a really interactive session today. As Sergey said, my name is Naresh Chouhan, and I work in Nokia Strategy, particularly on our developer-related activities and portfolio. What I want to do today is to give you an overview of all of our developer offerings. I know this morning we've focused quite a lot on Windows Phone, but I wanted to talk about everything in total. But before we do that, I'd really like to sort of remind everyone of where we were about in February 2011. We started off revamping our complete strategy as a company, and we set out two clear goals. The first was to win with Microsoft, and the second was to connect the next billion people in the world to the internet. So today, what I wanted to do was to relate everything back to these two pillars and make sure that we're all set and understanding where we are and where we're progressing. Nokia Store is my measure of what's happening with our company and what's happening overall in the developer economy. And what we've done in the past week alone is pass two major milestones. We've completed 5 billion downloads through the source since it started back in May 2009. And we've also passed 15 million downloads a day. And this is growing incredibly. So it took us from 3 billion to 4 billion, about 105 days. From 4 billion to 5 billion, it actually took us about 75 days in total. So we know that the rate of demand of applications and content is growing around the world incredibly fast. We expect the next billion to be even faster, around about 50 days. In Russia, it's the same thing. You know, we're seeing incredible acceleration. This year alone, we've already broken our records for downloads within the first 6 months than we've done in the previous couple of years. And this is great news, and that's across the whole of our portfolio. Now, as Sergey and Mikhail talked about earlier on, we've introduced the Windows Phone 8 platform, but what we're really seeing in the Nokia Store is demand from all around the world, and in particular on our feature phone and our mobile phone sectors. So what we have seen is, in actual fact, the growth in people who use feature phones, such as our Asha range, starting to download, become aware of applications in general, and starting to download because of the halo effect of smartphones. So of the first billion Nokia Store downloads, only 13% were related to the feature phone segment. Of the last billion, that has grown to 42%, and we expect that again to accelerate. So there is a massive opportunity in the feature phone market, and don't forget, you know, and that underlines Nokia's commitment to the feature phone market and rolling it around the world. So let's give you an update on Series 40 and where we've got to so far. Our three key pillars around Series 40 is about creating fantastic new products, aspirational products that, you know, everyone will want to own. We see a lot of people and a lot of consumers in Africa, in India, who aspire to becoming smartphone users, but they can't afford it. Yet they still want access to Facebook, they want access to Foursquare, they know about all these things because in one way or another they are connected to the internet. So we want to be able to create an experience for them that allows them access to all of these capabilities. The second thing is we want to make sure that they are connected. You know, these phones that we introduce into the market have to offer the best possible experience in terms of connectivity. And so this is a core pillar a second pillar of our strategy for the feature phone market. The third thing is we've noticed that people are connecting very locally. Not only, you know, the mantra for Nokia is about connecting people, but what we're also finding is we're connecting developers very locally with the local consumers. And this has helped to start local economies, and I'll show how this is going to work in the future. So since Nokia World in November last year, we introduced a whole new range of products, ranging in form factor, including QWERTY keyboards for those people who are addicted to text and social networks, higher processing speeds, as well as fast, full screen, full touch, including touchscreen devices, and also coping for the very low price segments as well. But the one thing in common with all of these different form factors is the fact that they run Series 40 in Java. This year, just a couple of weeks ago, we announced the Asha full touch range. So again, a full touch capacitive 1 gigahertz processing based platform that runs Java, a coding environment that everyone knows and understands. Even I learned it at university, and that was a long, long time ago. So the Asha 305 and the 306 and the 3011 devices are exceptional devices. If you use these devices, they are more or less smartphones. When you download and install a Java application, it appears as an icon within the screen. We've also included elements of our swipe UI onto the Asha devices as a paradigm for user interaction. And what we're finding is that users are really keying into this paradigm, and it's more or less giving them the smartphone experience. In fact, one of the media companies, GfK, who are quite well known around the world, have reclassified this phone segment as smartphone light. The devices bring a lot of capabilities, like I said, 1 gigahertz screen. But as a developer, what does this actually mean for you? Well, it means you've got bigger real estate for your screen. You've got more space on the screen to actually build more functionality into your app. That means actually being able to monetize better as well, because you can start to build in techniques such as in-app advertising. And my colleague from Interactive will talk about that later on today. So we've built a whole bunch of functionality around the phones itself, but it's not just about the functionality of the phones. What we've also realized is that we need to work with partners and developers in order to make a complete experience for the user. So we have worked with partners such as Interactive, Electronic Arts, who are actually bundling 40 of their games as part of the Asha phone range, and that's worth €75 in itself. These devices are selling for less than €95 globally. We've also worked with key players such as WhatsApp, because we know a messaging environment that is equivalent to something like BlackBerry Messenger is a key requirement for the consumers of these phones. Overall, the Asha touch range, as it rolls out, represents a massive opportunity, and we certainly see it growing. And we've already partnered, like I say, with several people, but what I wanted to do was to hopefully give you some of their experiences and let our developer community talk to you about what they've done. So I'll watch a short video here.
Devices gives me a lot of Asha. Asha in Hindi means hope. I think it could be a game changer for a market like India.
Nokia devices are massively popular in the territories where we have large fan bases, and we're really keen to be able to reach the fans on the platforms that they're using.
We decided to port Web Traveler on Nokia Asha devices because we know that feature phones are very smart devices, and they are becoming like smartphones.
This is possibly the first product which blurs the difference between a feature and a smartphone. You can't call it a feature phone because it is smart enough in that sense. So I would actually call it the smartest feature phone.
The games perform very well on the new Series 40 touch devices. Our legacy from whatever we've done with Nokia involves a lot of Java development, so it was a comfortable platform for us. языке offers a lot of gesture APIs, the sensor APIs, basically create a new valuable experience for the end user. We used the gesture API to maximum effect in the cricket games, the sports title that we were doing, so they could whack the ball this way, whack the ball that way.
Moving to Japan was a natural choice for me because of the ease of development and the enhanced APIs like maps and sensors.
We decided to develop as a web app because of Infomedia's background. We have a big background using web technologies and mobile web technologies. The Nokia web tools for Series 40 were very good. It was very easy to install. Using the developer.nokia.com tutorials and examples, we managed to build the app very quickly. I'd recommend developing for the Series 40 platform. It allows you to access so many different users across so many different territories.
Using Nokia Store, we are reaching global markets. Of course, we are reaching those people in their native languages. It's very important for them to see web traveler services in their native language.
Nokia has been a very trusted partner. It is always back developers. The relationship is what really matters, and we've seen that really work very positively with us and Nokia.
Okay, so in the words of developers themselves, you know, the Series 40 platform is very, very popular. This week is also a seminal week for us because we've actually launched the new tools. The Java SDK is available now for download, as well as the web app SDK as well. So visit developer.nokia.com and you can download them today. So moving on to Windows Phone now, the second pillar of our strategy. Obviously, we've covered quite a lot today, and I won't repeat anything that Sergey and Mikhail has done, but just to recap, you know, for us, what does that really mean? It means the Lumia experience is going to get a lot better for consumers. There's going to be a lot more involved in this phone. There are a bunch of hardware features that are in there, and one thing that Nokia is very, very good at is building great hardware. You know, we've had that, and I'll give some personal experiences later on about how I know that. I wanted to quickly just cover one point again, which was Mikhail mentioned this during his presentation. For us, we've always tried to ensure continuity with our developer base. And I want to make clear that actually all the 100,000 apps that are in store today and the growing number day by day, you know, developed for Windows 7.5 will work on 7.8 and 8.0. If you've developed using DirectX or XNA or anything like that, it will work on that platform. Don't stop or don't delay your development, you know, and wait for Windows Phone. It'll be available now. Plus, it'll also be downgradable. So every, you know, apps that have been developed for Windows 8.0 will still work to a certain extent in environment. Those apps that don't take advantage of the specific hardware features on Windows 8.0. Okay. So the new UI, I mean, what does that really mean from a developer's perspective? One of the things I think is really cool about the Windows Phone is the live screen, and we've talked about that today. But from a developer's perspective, what it actually means is that you've got on the home screen, without even pressing the unlock button, an ability to engage with your consumer directly. You can push up notifications, you can show the routes for maps, you can show social media, a whole bunch of stuff. And this will migrate towards 7.8 and 8.0 as well. So this is a very unique feature of Windows Phone. And it's not going to be small. You know, we are going truly global with this. So Windows Phone 8, I'm covering the numbers myself, sorry about that. Windows Phone 8 will be made available in 50 languages. That's 25 more languages than iPhone announced a couple of weeks ago. Nokia is already present in 180 different countries, and Windows Phone 8 will be, all application downloads will be available from 180 different countries as well. When it comes to Nokia and what we're specifically doing with the new platforms, we're going to be continuing to build upon the Metro UI, but we will also add our own differentiating experiences as well. We need to do this because we believe we want to get consumer traction and consumers to follow Nokia as opposed to any other Windows Phone vendor. And I'll describe those in a minute. We will continue with the beautiful design. You know, this to me is a great phone. It's a superb phone. And then we will build in familiar features. So simple interaction makes it a consumer delight. So whenever my phone goes off in the morning, my alarm goes off in the morning, I can flip it, and it'll go to snooze for at least another 10 minutes, which is great for me because I'm not very good at getting up. Of the announcements we made last week, we are also bringing in a whole bunch of specific Lumia experiences. And these include, transport, they include Nokia Drive, they include Play 2, and additions to our music applications as well. These are all great things. Now, I'll give you a personal experience of this. So, yes, I arrived to Moscow on Tuesday evening, and yesterday I spent the day in the office. I actually managed to let the hotel convince me that I should use their car. And so I paid 1,000 rubles to travel 1 mile in a car. And I had to go around the Kremlin, and I thought, this is very expensive. So on the way back, I decided, okay, I'll look it up on my mapping, Nokia Maps and Nokia Transport application and see where I could get to and how quickly I could get to. I discovered that it was a 27-minute walk, and I could actually go into the Kremlin and use my City Lens application to look around and see exactly what was about me without having to need a translator, without having to spend any money. So that kind of experience to me is absolutely fantastic, and I love it. Like I said, these are the extensions that we've added on, so I've talked about these already. You will see a lot more on this. In the transport application is very key because I actually tried that yesterday in Moscow, and it showed me all the bus routes and all the locations to get as well. So, you should try it on your phone. So, and this is the first reaction from other developers as well. Most people that we've spoken to have been delighted by the introduction of better interaction within the screen. But also what we've noticed is developers are really glad that we're finally combining the core codes of Windows Phone and Windows 8 in itself. As Mikhail mentioned earlier on, this is a core feature that allows you to port applications very quickly and easily. But from a commercial point of view, what that means is it expands your market to potentially 1.3 billion consumers around the world. So nobody offers that kind of bridge apart from Windows Phone, I believe. And what we've done in the past year, well, I mean, it was only in February 2011 that we announced our new strategy. In November, we announced that we were going to make 2 new phones, the 800 and the 710. It's now only June 2011, that's 7 months from actual launch, that we've introduced a whole range of new phones. And these are just the physical phones. We've actually built variants as well. So we've built 2 versions specifically for China, the 800 and the 710, the 610C. And we've also built an NFC-specific version of Windows 7.5 for Orange in the UK who want to roll out a payment scheme using Windows Phone. So, in the short space of 7 months, we've delivered 7 new phones, or 4 new phones and 3 variants. That's amazing progress, and it shows you how Nokia can scale the opportunity, not only in terms of hardware, but in terms of our global market reach as well. We've rolled out, Lumia to so many different markets, 54 different markets through 130 different operators. And these numbers are growing week by week. So each time this updates, you can go to Lumia Momentum on the web and find out where the market is rolling out to. We've done a lot of joint activities around the world, continually. So we've already run 600 events globally. We're part of the University and the Challenge Cups. We've produced a whole bunch of guides that you can download from developer.nokia.com. And we run business and design clinics in addition to our code camps, our hackathons, and technical clinics as well. And we will continue. So we will be shortly announcing a whole raft of new programs for the next year based around Windows 7.8 and 8.0 as well. As Sergey mentioned, we've seeded 20,000 devices out in the market. There are 5,000 still available to seeding. But we're not just giving these away to anybody. We're actually talking to developers. The key point about giving devices to developers is to make sure that you develop an app. It's a selfish act, I'm afraid, but that's what we want to do, is to make sure that we actually add apps to the marketplace for our consumers all the time. And so we work with it. And we work to, as Mika mentioned, the number of apps has grown significantly. But we actually, when it comes to application strategy, what we try and do is work with partners and developers in 3 different veins. Firstly is to make sure that those apps that are top performers on other platforms are available on the Windows Phone platform, so that there is no consumer objection to adopting a Lumia device. Secondly, we develop exclusive apps, so exclusive content that isn't available on any other platform, that is only available on either on Windows Phone and on Lumia. And thirdly, our strategy is about taking existing apps and adding additional functionality that the Windows Metro UI actually allows. So if you feel you've got something around those 3 elements of strategy, please do come and talk to us. Or if you've really got something new, please do come and talk to us. Okay. And we've got some great brands already. So this week is particularly exciting for me because we announced Zynga on the Windows Phone platform. Now, I don't know if many of you are fans, but I'm a great fan of Scrabble. And I play it virtually with a lot of my friends through Facebook and so on. And Zynga brings, wordplay along with it, and that's great for me because I can now play it on Windows Phone. But we've also worked with other key brands around the world. British Airways, and I use the British Airways to check in, download my boarding pass, and present it. So I'm completely paperless transit for me to Moscow as well. I also use it for Groupon, mainly because I don't have much money, so I like to have discounts whenever I can as well. Okay, so one of the things that is becoming... we've covered Windows Phone and we've covered our feature phone market, but one of the things that has become more dominant during the past few months is what we understand to be and what we are committed to deliver in the form of a business development kit. So we know you guys are great at building code, testing it, building the user experience, etc. But what we've had said to us is people don't understand what the real business opportunity is. They don't understand where consumers are and what their behavior is and what apps they're downloading. So, and then after you've developed the app, what happens then? Do you just simply put it in the store and hope it's going to be a success? So we've created a whole bunch of tools that allow that allow you to understand that. The first is our monetization tools. So we will make available across all of our platforms in-app advertising, in-app purchasing, and analytics, so you can understand what's going on. But prior to that, we will also build a tool that shows you where consumers are, what they're downloading, what is their segmentation, what is their profile, which are the popular geographies. So if you have an application that you're thinking of, or have an idea and you want to test it and see where it could be possibly rolled out, we can give you a hand on that as well. We've also created a whole bunch of marketing tools. So once the application has been provisioned in store, you can use our simple asset creator to plug in a few lines of not even code. You just plug in a few details on a website, and you can create a whole bunch of banners which will allow you to generate online advertising. We're developing this concept further to include the ability to make videos, the ability to create a whole website, the ability to create a Facebook fan page, and so on. So we're looking at the solution from end to end, understanding the opportunity through to helping you market your applications to a broader audience. But beyond that, what we're actually doing is merchandising your applications in real advertising. We're spending huge amounts of money on promoting developers applications with their own campaigns. This is a screenshot from a UK advert, but what I'd actually like to do is to play you the video. Hopefully it's not too slow.
The beautiful Nokia Lumia. It's alive. Alive with your friends and alive with apps. So you can save money, save time, and save the universe. See your world come to life on the beautifully different Nokia Lumia.
No, that advert was actually part of a big UK campaign, and I should have made it a Russian campaign as well, but my apologies. But the reason I brought that up was because I have a 12-year-old daughter, and she's completely crazy about the UK X Factor. So she watches it on a Saturday evening, and the advertising slots that are available are the most expensive UK advertising slots that you can get for TV adverts. And the reason this one particularly caught my eye was because my daughter saw that advert and went, wow, that's what you do. So she finally understood what I did after 20 years. Okay. And so it's all about local. It's all about making sure that we work locally with you. So it's events like this, and we've done, like I said, hundreds of events like this. It's making sure that you guys have what you need and understand where we are in our overall strategy to really, engage with you. This is something that our competitors don't do. We're not an anonymous web page. We're actual people here standing in front of you, willing to talk. And that's the key thing. And the result of all this is, this week we've had some great successes. So we've just had our third developer who's passed 100 million download marks. That's iNode in South America. Previously, we had Pico Brothers, who are based in Finland, and they passed the 100 million download mark, as well as India Games, who you saw on the previous advert for Asha. And, sorry, my font's gone a bit. But we've also had developers who are making upwards of $1,000 a day using ad solutions as well. So, and Aurelie from Interactive was going to talk about this to you a bit later on today. Okay, so in summary, hopefully I've given you some idea of what the developer opportunity is and what our strategy is. In the past couple of weeks, you would have heard a lot about Nokia and how we've sharpened that even more, and it's still very much focused on these two areas, the two pillars that I spoke about earlier on. The key thing for us is that we're building great products all the time. We want to build products that people love. And we want to make sure that they get into the hands of people everywhere around the world, and not just in the smartphone sector. It's all the world, everywhere. We want to make sure that we provide you with the right monetization tools and the right ways to actually make your businesses viable and profitable. And thirdly, we want to make sure that we provide you with local support. Wherever you are in the world, you can always phone somebody at Nokia. We may not be there straight away, but we will get back to you eventually. Our forums and online support are also incredible mechanisms for getting information. And with that, thank you very much. So are there any questions?
Есть ли вопросы?
Валерий Коржов, Computer World. Microsoft объявил, что он одной из 8 инструментов для разработки поддержки карт Nokia для версии Windows 7, я так понимаю, карты Nokia есть. То есть, кроме, собственно, нового экрана, в 7.8 будет еще и поддержка Nokia. Я правильно понимаю или нет?
Yes, so if I understand your question right, I think what you're asking is what features of the Windows Phone mapping will move forward. Is that correct? Nokia Maps is going to be made available across the whole of the Windows ecosystem. So that means Samsung, LG, and other vendors who will be making, and that was a strategic decision that we'd always made back when we started the discussions with Nokia. A lot of what, if you haven't done so already, to get an idea of what the mapping capabilities we're bringing along, visit maps.nokia.com and install the 3D plugin. If you do that, you see that we were light years ahead of our competitors in terms of 3D mapping, flyovers, and so on. The key point is we're going to make those APIs available to developers so that mapping becomes an integral part of the overall platform. And should you use any social media functions or mapping functions, those will be available across all, all Windows Phone vendors as a core part of the Windows 8 platform.
Коллеги, я предлагаю, если вопросов к Нарешу больше нету, то у нас будет еще Q&A session в конце дня. А сейчас... Спасибо, Нареш, thank you. А сейчас я приглашаю всех... У нас перерыв, и через 15 минут мы здесь встретимся. Спасибо большое.